Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, we are from Group 3 of History and English Language, and now we would like to present our paper about Latin and Greek Part 1. Firstly, I would like to introduce our all members to you. The first one is Khalishah Abrar. The second is me as moderator as Hidayatullah. The third is Dira Maharani, and the fourth is Muhamad Arby Diwal, and the last is Rifky Fathur Rahman. Now let's begin our material. The first one is the Renaissance that will be brought by Muhammad Arby. To Muhammad Arby, time is yours.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Arby Diwal, and I will explain about the Renaissance. Through Italy and France, the Renaissance came to be felt in England as early as the 14th century. And since then, the invasion of classical term has never stopped. Out of the multitude of new words introduced was greater, perhaps, in the 14th, the 16th, and the 19th than in the intervening centuries. The same influence is conspicuous in all Europe language, but in English, it has been stronger than any other language. French perhaps expected. The reason seems rather to be that natural power of resistance possessed by a Germanic tongue against these alien intruders had been already broken in the case of the English language by the wholesale importation of French words. They paved the way for minds that perfection for foreign words, which made them shrink for consciously coining new words out of native material. If French word was distinguished than English ones, Latin words were still more so. A great many words may with equal right be ascribed to French to Latin, since their English form would be the same in both cases, and first user would probably know both languages as example of word taken from either language: grave, gravity, consolation, solid, infidel, infernal, and position. A curious consequence of Latin influence during and after Renaissance was that quite a number of French words were remodeled into closer resemblance with their Latin originals. Causarius described, but in the 16th century the form of describe make its appearance. Perfect and parfait, the word for perfect, were normal English form for centuries. Milton writes perverted, but the C was introduced from Latin, the form language used for centuries before it became language by a curious crossing Latin and French form. Integrated relations between French and Latin are sometimes shown in derivatives. Color is from French, as evident from the vowel in the first syllable A. But in decoloration, the second syllable sometimes makes more cal, as from Latin, and sometimes cal is from French. Some compare also example from French, exemplary from Latin, machine with machinist and machinery are from French, but machinate and machination are taking direct from Latin. That's all, thank you.
Alright, thank you Arby for explaining about the Renaissance. Now the next part is deviation from Latin that will be explained by Rifky Fathur Rahman. To our friend Rizky, time is yours.
Deviations from Latin, where English words of Latin or Greek origin should always be reminded of the sleep denotes and the number of vowels of the original language. Among the words used in English with different meanings from classical language, for example, the words enormous in Latin, enormous, in English also from enorm and enormous. Then, ponder in Latin, ponderat, which examine such transitive. Item in Latin, item also used to introduce its article in a list, except the first. Premises is a chance of a building originally things that fourth or mentioned in the beginning. Climax in Greek, climax means a ladder of gradation. However, it must be remembered that when a certain pronunciation of meaning has been established legally and firmly in a language, the word has fulfilled its purpose. Even though there have been additions from from the word, and however, the meaning of a word in a language should not be measured for truth by concept another language. It may not be realized that many classical words are included in the vocabulary of life that have been commonly used because they are considered the best. Because certain classical words are created less precise as analogies, and some of them appear alone in several countries. For example, words with formation ending in ism such as absenteeism, alienism, classicism, colloquialism, favoritism, individualism, terrorist, and other. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Rifky, for explaining about deviation from Latin. And the next part or our material is innovation, that will be explained by our friend Dira Maharani. To our friend Dira, time is yours.
Next is innovation. This is some example of the corresponding phenomenon with Latin and Greek elements. The ending with Asian is starvation, backwardation, and others. In ist is fictis and walkis. The latter perhaps more American than British, but both interesting as professional fighter or walker. Next is compare also terfite, and the numerous words in ita, arfangite, rascanite, hybrid in ism. Huntonism has been used by Bacon, Milton, Edison, and Freeman. Witticism was first used by Dryden. Blockheadism is found in Ruskin. In ocracy, londocracy, shopocracy, baristocracy. In IZE, womanize, subberize, Londonizing. In attive, talkative, bubbletive, and subtative. Even many of these words are non-words, it cannot be denied that the process is perfectly legitimate within reasonable limits at any rate. One on RA, which is used in similar manner in any number of free compounds, such as rebirth and especially verb, reorganize, resterilize, resubmit, and recase.
All right. Thank you, Dira, for explaining about innovation. And the last part of our material is syntax that will be explained by our friends Khalishah Abrar. To Khalishah, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Aziz. Syntax. Not only in vocabulary but also in style and syntax, Latin has influenced English. The absolute participle, as in everything considered or this being the case, was introduced at a very early period in imitations of the Latin constructions. It's relatively uncommon in Old English, where it's mostly found in close Latin translations. It is equally rare in the first period of Middle English, but it becomes a little more common in the second period. However, after 1660, when the English prose style underwent a new phase that was rich in classical elements, the structure gained traction and was eventually fixed and naturalized in the language. There are some other Latin idioms which authors tried to imitate but which have always been felt as unnatural, so that now they have been dropped. For instance, who, for he, who, or those, who, as in sleeping, found by whom they dread. Further, such interrogative and relative construction as those found in the following quotations. To do what service am I sent for hither? And a right noble and pious Lord, who had he not sacrificed his life, we had not now missed and bewailed a worthy patron. Thank you.
Thank you, Khalishah, for explaining about our last part of material about syntax. And that's the last part of our material, and that's all we can share to you guys. If there is a mistake in inclusion of words, we are really apologize for that. Uh, all right. See you in the next time.